There's been a lot of buzz around the Pittsburgh Steelers lately, and one of the biggest talking points comes from none other than ESPN's Dan Orlovsky, who stirred the pot by saying the Steelers could be staring down a brutal 0-6 start to the season if Mason Rudolph is the starting quarterback. And look, that kind of statement is guaranteed to turn heads and stir up debate, especially in a city like Pittsburgh where football isn't just a game, it's a way of life. But is that take completely off base? Let's break it down and talk it out. So here's what Orlovsky said, word for word. I think they're staring 0-6 in the face if Mason Rudolph is under center to start the year. Now, when you lay out the first 6 games on the schedule, it's clear the Steelers aren't exactly being handed cupcakes. Week 1 is against the New York Jets. And yeah, that defense is nasty. Week 2 is the home opener against the Seahawks. And even though they've had ups and downs, that offense can move the ball. Then it's off to Foxborough to take on the Patriots, followed by a trip to Dublin to face the Vikings. Week 5 is a home game against the Browns, and Week 6 wraps up with a road trip to Cincinnati to take on Joe Burrow and the Bengals. That's a gauntlet, no doubt. But let's slow down a second. Are those games tough? Absolutely. Are they all guaranteed losses? Not even close. You've got division rivals in there, matchups that always come down to the wire, no matter what's happening on either side. The Browns? Yeah, they've got talent, but they're not unbeatable. The Jets, let's see if they can stay consistent. Vikings and Patriots? A lot depends on which version of those teams shows up. This isn't a murderer's row. It's tough, but it's not a death sentence. And even if Rudolph is the one taking snaps, is it really fair to act like the team's season would just collapse out of the gate? Let's give Mason some credit here. He's not the flashiest quarterback. He's not a Pro Bowl lock. But the guy's record as a starter isn't terrible. He's gone 12-9-1 wearing the black and gold. That's not just surviving, that's competing. He's been in the building for years, knows the system, knows the personnel, and when he's been asked to step in, he's held his own. Now, does that mean he's the long-term answer? Probably not. Nobody's saying Mason Rudolph is going to carry the Steelers to a Super Bowl. But to jump straight to the idea that the team goes winless through 6 weeks just because he's under center, that feels like a hot take for the sake of a headline. Because when you really dig into it, this Steelers team isn't built around one position. They've got one of the league's most fearsome defenses. TJ Watt is still a game wrecker. Minkah Fitzpatrick can change a game in one play. They've got young weapons on offense, a coaching staff that knows how to adapt, and a culture that just refuses to fold. And yeah, maybe they go 2-4. Maybe they even start 3-3 and claw their way into the playoff conversation by December. That's not some fantasy. That's the kind of thing Pittsburgh has done time and time again, especially under Mike Tomlin. The man has never had a losing season. That doesn't happen by accident. That's the result of leadership, grit, and knowing how to get the most out of what you've got. But let's also be real. We all know what this is really about. The ceiling. It's not that Mason Rudolph is incapable, it's that he might be capable of just enough. And that's the danger. Capable enough to win some games, to stay around .500, to keep the team competitive, but not capable of pushing them over the top. And that's what Orlovsky's trying to get at. The Steelers aren't just trying to survive anymore. They're trying to contend. They're trying to win playoff games again. And when you line up Rudolph against guys like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, does he give you a real shot? That's where the questions start getting louder. And here's where things really start to get interesting. Because all of this speculation about Mason Rudolph is happening against the backdrop of something much bigger, the growing smoke around a potential Aaron Rodgers signing. Multiple respected reporters from across the NFL landscape are saying the same thing. They fully expect Rodgers to end up in Pittsburgh before the season kicks off. We're talking guys like Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, Mike Florio, all of them saying this feels like a when not if situation. That kind of consensus doesn't just happen out of thin air. These are plugged in people. And when many voices start singing the same tune, it's time to pay attention. So here's the deal. Rodgers reportedly took one visit this offseason. Just one, and it was to Pittsburgh. He's been throwing with Steelers receivers out in California. He's been talking regularly with Mike Tomlin. And while he hasn't signed the dotted line yet, there's this understanding around the league that he's already leaning toward the black and gold. So what's the holdup? Why hasn't it happened yet? Simple. Aaron Rodgers does not care for off-season workouts. Never has. Go back to his Green Bay days and you'll see the same pattern. He's been vocal about not wanting to participate in early voluntary workouts. He's never liked the first phases of the off-season program. The lifting, the walkthroughs, the classroom sessions. That's just not his style. And he's even less enthusiastic about mandatory minicamps. Rodgers believes his preparation comes later, in training camp, in film study, in live reps. And if he's going to sign with the Steelers, it's going to happen on his timeline, not anyone else's. That's why everyone in the NFL media keeps circling late May or early June as the likely window. The Steelers' OTAs kick off on May 27th. Mandatory minicamp runs from June 10th to the 12th. If Rodgers wants to be part of those sessions and start building chemistry early, then that's the time he'll put pen to paper. But if he sticks to his usual MO, we may not see that signature until after minicamp wraps up, when there's nothing left on the schedule until training camp in late July. And listen, the Steelers are okay with that, for now. Even team owner Art Rooney has hinted that they prefer Rodgers to be in the building sooner rather than later. But there's an understanding here. When you're dealing with a future Hall of Famer, a 4-time MVP, you make some concessions. You let him come in on his terms, as long as he's there when it counts. But I know everyone agrees that waiting is the right move. Ben Roethlisberger, Steelers legend, and a guy who knows exactly what it takes to succeed in that city, made some comments recently that added more fuel to the fire. According to Big Ben, Rodgers needs to sign ASAP if he wants to thrive in Pittsburgh. His reasoning? Rodgers might be smart, but he's stepping into an offense that's different from what he's run his whole career. It's not a true West Coast system. It's got new verbiage, new terminology. And more than that, Ben stressed how important it is to be on the field with your guys, learning their roots, building timing, understanding how they react in real situations. That kind of chemistry isn't built overnight. But here's the counterpoint, and it's a fair one. Arthur Smith, the Steelers' new offensive coordinator, does run a West Coast style scheme when he has the personnel for it. Last season in Atlanta was a bit of a mix because of who they had at quarterback and what they were trying to do with the run game. But make no mistake, Smith's philosophy lines up just fine with what Rodgers is used to. So picking up the C, offense, that's not going to be the issue. Rodgers has seen every coverage, every front, every blitz package you can throw at a quarterback. The mental part isn't going to be the hurdle. What could be a hurdle is the rapport. Getting on the same page with your receivers, getting used to the cadence and rhythm of your new offensive line, figuring out which routes your slot guy runs best, which throws your ex-receiver wins on. And that's where guys like Big Ben have a point. The earlier you start that process, the better. But again, Rodgers has never done it that way. And given how many signs are pointing toward him landing in Pittsburgh, it feels like this might play out exactly the way it always has. Rodgers signs when he's ready, the team waits patiently, and once training camp begins, he goes to work. So the question for Steelers fans is, when will enough be enough? When is the line where you stop waiting and pivot to a new plan? According to Mike Tomlin, that line is training camp. In his own words from the NFL owners' meetings, the spring is about teaching, learning, getting to know your players. It's not about evaluations. It's not about gearing up for game day. That part starts at camp. So as long as Rodgers signs before then, the Steelers are going to roll out the red carpet. And truthfully, if Rodgers does sign, this team instantly shifts from fringe playoff hopeful to serious contender. Because yes, Mason Rudolph can keep the ship afloat. But Aaron Rodgers, he could take this team somewhere. That's why all of this matters. That's why we're having this conversation. Because Pittsburgh isn't just trying to show up. They're trying to win again. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that could reshape the AFC North landscape, rumors are swirling that quarterback Baker Mayfield is finalizing a 3-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. While the franchise has yet to officially confirm the signing, multiple league insiders have indicated that negotiations are in the final stages, with the former #1 overall pick poised to wear black and gold starting next season. Mayfield, who spent the 2023 season revitalizing his career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led them to a surprising playoff berth and showcased a level of poise and maturity not always associated with his early years in the league. His performance silenced many critics and reignited interest from several quarterback-needy franchises. The Steelers, long known for their defensive identity, have struggled to find consistent quarterback play since the retirement of Ben Roethlisberger. Kenny Pickett showed flashes of potential but was often inconsistent, leading to speculation that Pittsburgh might explore veteran options. If confirmed, Mayfield's signing would mark a significant shift in Pittsburgh's offensive strategy. Known for his fiery competitiveness, mobility, and strong arm, Mayfield could bring a new dimension to the Steelers' offense. His ability to extend plays and connect deep downfield complements a young and talented receiver core, while his playoff experience could prove invaluable in close divisional battles. Still, the move carries risk. Mayfield's career has been a roller coaster, marked by impressive highs and frustrating lows. His tenure with the Cleveland Browns ended unceremoniously, and he struggled during brief stints with the Panthers and Rams before finding stability in Tampa Bay. The Steelers coaching staff will need to harness his strengths and provide the structure he thrived under last season. For now, Steelers fans await official word, but the potential addition of Mayfield promises excitement and perhaps controversy as Pittsburgh gears up for a new era under center. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.